Welcome back to another episode of Office Hours. This is episode number 3. Thank you so much for participating and submitting your questions. I've loved reviewing them, and I love the questions and comments that come through on YouTube. So please do not stop. If there's something that you want to know about Asana, I take this time to answer your burning questions. I have selected a few. I'm going to walk through them today, but nothing is pre-built. Nothing is set up already. I'm just going to think through them and talk through them out loud to give you my best impressions of how I would approach these. So let's get into the demo for today and take a look at our first questions here. So I'm just gonna pick this one, and can you set capacity by day? We have several employees who work 9 hours Monday through Thursday and 4 hours on Friday. That's a good question. Thanks, Brianne, for that. I'm gonna say yes and no. In the way that you're asking, Brianne, no, we cannot set capacity by day. If I were to go to the portfolio, I'm just gonna pull up the one that I always use. What we can do, we know, is, we can edit our capacity here and we can set it, for everyone across the board, or we can change it to the individual. So I think whatever the capacity ends up being for that individual for their entire week, they work a half day on Friday, then you would just be their full capacity and you would change it for the individual. What you can do, though, fairly recent update, is now when you're looking at the workload, you can look at it by days small, where it's literally just a small view, or you can look at it days large, where it's a bit more spread out like that. And so now you're seeing their daily capacity of 8 hours, right? And then the tasks assigned to this individual totaling, 21 and a half hours total. So, and then we can change that view. So if we wanted to see what their weekly capacity was for those tasks, there we go. We can now see their weekly capacity of 40 hours, and then the tasks that are assigned to them adding up to what they add up to in the estimation. So you can change the view, but no, you wouldn't be able to say Monday they work this amount of time, Tuesday they work that amount of time. There are workarounds for how we can do that if you wanted to really dig into it, but wouldn't recommend it. It would just be a lot of redundant work. So good question. I hope that answered your question. Let's go to the next one here. Can time be assigned to individual subtasks? Yes, it can. So that question there, let me just pull up a project here let me see where we have some subtasks. Okay, so we've got estimated time here, and we've got, let's do brainstorming session. So what I'm gonna do is I'll show you a couple things, because not only can you assign estimated time to specific subtasks, but you can also have it roll up. So in this brainstorming session, right, maybe we have subtasks for the individuals so we have task 1, task 2, task 3, and then task 4. So now what we have the ability to do is, rather than filling out the top line, we're going to take the estimated time of these subtasks. So let's just assign 1 hour to each of these. There we go. All right. And so as you can see, all the time is added in there. Let's put another hour there. But when we close up the accordion or the drop down, we can see the time automatically rolls up, and it's even like pushed off to the side to indicate that there's other time that it's considering. So it won't show when it's open, but it will show when it's closed if you're looking at it in the list view. Where this doesn't really help us is we still cannot see the subtask estimated time being rolled up in the portfolio. So the question I just answered about workload, we wouldn't see these estimated times there, unfortunately, at the portfolio level. It would just be for the project level planning. So there's your answer. Depending on what your use case is, not ideal for portfolio management, but yes, you can assign time to the subtask and see that time as well. Great question. Thanks so much. Let's pull up our third one here. It's very informative. Thanks so much. Can we any charts that's taken up inputs, percentage of utilization from workload management, since it's a bit difficult to go and check with resource space on each day? Can we create charts maybe that's taken as inputs? Okay, so we're talking about percentage allocation, I think. This is related to my recent video on percentage allocation from workload management, since it's difficult to go and check resources. So yeah, I think I understand this question. So if we went back to just one of these examples here, do I have percentage allocation? Yes, I do. So let's pull this over. And so I think the question is, do we have to have all of this filled out, or do we have to, go chase down people to do this? So I'm not sure how you're doing your project planning or who's filling out the allocation in these projects. Maybe you have a baseline for these projects already, and you're just inputting these based on historical figures. You can create tasks, recurring tasks weekly, maybe Friday afternoon, you have to set all of your percentage allocation for the coming week. If you're doing Scrum, maybe that's just part of, the required task in your planning sessions for your upcoming sprints. But what you can do is, if you did have these filled out, whether it's the product owner, project manager, or the team member filling these out, you have access to it. I hope I'm answering this question correctly, but if you go to reporting, I just did a video on the workload, universal workload. But when we create this, rather than creating like just a dashboard here, you can create universal workload as well. So you can drill down and create filters for just about anything. If you want to view just what's happening in subtask, if you want to see it based on incomplete or completed tasks as well. But then we can set our estimated time. So instead of the estimated time effort, we can set it as percentage allocation. And then we can say how much capacity do you want them to achieve every single time period. We can set that capacity. So if there were more people inside of this that were using this, then yes, this would be the easiest way to go and see what their allocation is across all of this is not just individual projects, by the way, this is the entire organization. Because in the filter, you can choose by entire organization, you can choose by teams, portfolios, projects owned by, or specific projects, and then type them in. This would probably be the easiest way to do it, is make sure we're filling in those fields, and then rather than having to chase those people down, we can now see allocation here at a really, really high level, and then we can make changes as we go. Again, if we had more team members, we could make some of those changes as well. So hope that answered that question. Play around with this. If you have access to universal workload, play around with it. There are different use cases, and I think when you use the tool and when you figure out what you need is when we best understand how to fully use Asana. So great question. Let's go to our last one here for today. This question was related with them as listed. This was related to when I created the Light CRM inside of Asana. Now, since I created this video, if you haven't seen the Light CRM video, go watch it. But since I created this video, I have moved a personal CRM into Asana where people that I meet at events or online or through a podcast that I want to keep in touch with, I have various stages that I take them through, and I make sure that I'm following up, periodically, and there's reminders, and I know where I met them and what the context was. Like, I have one of those, but I've also moved my sales and deal pipeline into Asana. It's still connected to HubSpot, but information's come over. So the use case for this video, if you haven't watched it or you're simply not going to watch it, would be that here we have this deal pipeline, and maybe I'll actually make one quick change here, because this project was called contacts, and I think this is where you are pulling this from. So I'm going to make a quick change, because the way that I use this now, and the question that you're asking would be this. So I'm going to assume this is like a client name project plan. Okay. And then in this project plan, we have various stages. I'm just making this up, but this is the best way I can answer this. To do, in progress, and then let's just put done. So then if we go back to our team here, the way that this would work and the way that my deal pipeline works is we have various stages where a lead will come in, book a call, they're qualified, I prepare a proposal or do a demo, and then we move them through the stages, send them a proposal, closed one. So, and then when it gets to closed one in this stage, what's happening is then there are a few reminders for me to do an executive sponsor follow-up. They get added to our active clients list. And then there's various other things that the CSMs to do. But in this case, like, we want to have the visibility into the deal for the rest of the project team. So as we're going through, we want to understand what the scope was. If we need to review any calls or review any documentation, all of that is there at our fingertips. And so right now, what I've done, I think when I did this demo, this was already set up, but your question was about having the contact available in the different projects. So my simple answer is multi-home it. So what I've done here is I've multi-homed it already to was the contacts project you saw when I changed it to client name. It's in the to-do section. But if we go over there, maybe we create another section and we just call this deal info, or, to answer, be more specific to your question, we can have this be contact info. And then I can't recall which one it was, but let's go back here to the deal pipeline, and then we'll put this in the deal info section. And then if these were other projects that this contact is related to, we would have a deal contact section as well, where we can view that information. So now I can work through my project plan. These tasks can all move through, the various stages that we want them to go through. But then my project team working on it can always access that deal information to see the annual revenue, the company we're talking with, and then, the various other fields around deal amount, and they're now an act client, so on and so forth. And in ours, we actually have another custom field for the contact property in HubSpot, the company property in HubSpot, and then we have a field for the Panda document, because that's where we do our proposals and documents, is we have that all there. So it's all linked, and then anyone can get to the actual source of truth for contacts, which is our HubSpot CRM. But I hope that answered your question. Thank you so much. And that is going to conclude another episode of Office Hours. Thanks so much for being here. Again, I love these questions. Submit them. I will go through them, me and my team, as they come in, and we archive them, and then we go through and select some ones that we can go through. So I am listening. I'm hearing you. I love seeing them. So thanks so much. And if you like this, comment on the video. Let me know what you liked about it. Let me know if you learned something, and please share this video with other people that you think this might help. Again, thanks for your time. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.